Okay, welcome to the trading room. Welcome to the Crypto Lounge. Our topic for today is cybersecurity. This is very important because, oh, sorry about that. I got a GERD. Couple of months ago, I experienced being hacked. I was not concerned about cybersecurity, securing my account, securing myself, securing my computer from hackers, and they took a lot of money. And looking at the statistics, during the pandemic, there is a high volume of scams, cyber hacking, taking all of your infos. And I guess this is very timely. And if this interests you, stay tuned because you will be in really for a good treat. Welcome to the Crypto Lounge. And let's bring in our guest for today. But before that, Mr. Brandon Fred, good morning. How are you?
I'm doing well. How you doing, Doc Vince?
I'm doing great, my friend. Now, maybe for the sake of our viewers, maybe you could introduce yourself, give us a background on what you've been doing, what you do, especially in our topic for today.
Okay, yeah, definitely. So I've been in the tech space for a long time. Over 20 years. I've done a few different things. I'm also a speaker, author, educator in the blockchain and Web3 space. So one of the my recent topics or books that I put out was adopting blockchain and cryptocurrency, embracing the digital future. So what I do is I really help people kind of understand this space, whether you're new to crypto, getting into it, trying to understand blockchain, how it can work with your company, how it can be infused into the enterprise. There's a lot of different topics that I talk about. I'm also the executive director of the Flames Foundation, Fred Brandon's Flames Foundation, where we help people get into technology. And we really want to make sure that, we kind of close that digital divide. There are a lot of jobs that we know that's really going to start getting replaced by AI, machine learning, robots, and things of that sort. So we want to make sure that, our communities are taken care of and that they're positioning themselves in a place where they will, not have to be on the outside looking in and try to find a job, but they're starting to find different avenues, whether it is in blockchain, Web3, whether it's in data, cybersecurity, as well as just understanding the financial literacy side to that as well. So yeah, that's that's kind of what I do now.
That's a lot. Let me go back first on the basics in the fundamentals. I remember when if we go to a construction site, before we go there, they would give in those hard hats, and they put everything for your security so that nothing will happen to you. But most of
Right.
the time, we take this for granted. Some people just go ahead and they think they know everything, and suddenly, they got hit on the head. Same thing with with computers, especially with the web space right now. We think we know everything, so we go ahead, check our emails, do our stuff, and there are those messages that asking for your emails, and we knowingly just give it, and without really thinking about how secure are we on doing so. It's like opening a computer. It seems like normal, but there are things that should have been done before even going to the internet. So
Right.
maybe we talk about cybersecurity. Uh, what what are the things that you would basically for newbies, especially for traders, because we talk about a lot of money here.
Right.
So what can you just give us your thoughts on this, on how us traders protect ourselves from this hackers.
Man, that is a loaded question. But
And we barely have 30 minutes to
yeah,
discuss. It's okay.
you asked me like the
I
hardest
I
question
trust you,
first.
man. You can do
Like,
it.
All right. So as you mentioned, there are a lot of things that we need to do prior to getting on the internet, whether we are taking that phone out the box for the first day, or taking that computer out the box for the first day, or taking our routers and modems. And there's a lot of different things that we really need to start securing. So there are so many aspects of security, as you mentioned. I mean, whether you're going to that construction site, there is a lot more security that's involved, right? So there are things that are you have to really think about. Are you securing the materials, right? How are you securing the materials? Are you securing things to make sure it doesn't fall on people? Are you securing it from like physical security? So, making sure that the area is safe, or are there physical cameras around to make sure, no one's stealing your stuff? There's a lot of different things that you have to think about when you're starting to work in a space, whether it's electronic, whether it's construction, whether it's a lot more things that's involved. So when we start to, get into, taking that box, taking that computer out the box, or taking that phone out the box, we have to start figuring out ways to secure ourselves, right? Making sure, and this is a process called hardening, right? So you want to harden your system, whether it is, making sure you're not, and hardening just means to make sure it's a little bit more secure, right? So there may be things that you may have on your phone that's already pre-installed apps. Are you going to use them, or take them off if you're not using them? There's a lot of different things that you can do, right? And
Yep.
go ahead.
Yeah, this is. I'm just gonna point this out, because most of the time when we talk about cybersecurity, we're talking about the desktop, laptop, and we tend to forget about our phones, because our phones right now is in a way functioning like a
It's a
computer.
supercomputer.
It's a supercomputer.
It's a supercomputer in your pocket, right? And
Right.
we have to think, we have to have that same mentality, that same thought process of how we're securing our networks and stuff at home. Because now you're just going to have, I'm going to just download some stuff and put it on my
Mhm.
phone. That's probably not the best thing to do, because, as you're thinking about, some of those apps, whether it's just to kill time, you're playing games, right? We have to kind of think about, they're free, right? And we understand that if something is free, then you're the product, right? So we have to kind of think about it. We downloaded all these free games. Well, how are they making their money, right? Because we can think about companies that a lot of people use all the time, and I'm not going to mention them because, but they're social media apps, right?
I
Some
know.
of these social media apps are billion-dollar companies, but it was a free download, right? So make it make sense. So we
Um,
kind of have to understand that some of the things that that are free, I have a saying: "There's nothing free but misery," right? So there's sometimes where, so when we start thinking about some of the things that we're doing, where we're doing it on our computer, where we're doing it on our laptop or phones, some of the things that we are downloading for free may not necessarily be in our best interest.
I'm
Um,
gonna. I'm sorry. I frequently cut you off. I
it's
hope
good.
you won't mind, because I might forget this. One thing I did mention about apps downloading is, this app, once you download it, it would say, uh, can we add your contacts on our app?
Right.
And that's the thing. You're giving the information of your contacts, the phone numbers, the email address to this app. It's like,
Right.
why would they ask that?
Yeah.
And sometimes, if you are not conscious about that, you would just say yes,
Right. And
and
we
that's
and
where
we
the
have to
problem
think about
is.
like some of these terms of service, right? If we're thinking about this in like a PDF, which is 8.5 by 11, right? Some of these PDFs are probably 100 pages long of terms of service, but now
Right.
we're looking at it on
The
a
fine
3-inch
print.
phone. We're looking at it on a 3-inch phone, and no one's looking through that terms of service, right? So they're just, hey, I want to hurry up and play this game. I really want to be able to do this one thing. on my phone and have ease of access.
Hmm.
So, and no one's kind of thinking, well, why does this, game, this bird app needs my, this bird game need contacts all my contact information. Why does it need to know who my friends are? Right? There's so many different things, and we're not kind of really thinking about it. It's like we may say, oh, well, we can play each other in this game. And that's the only, we're only thinking like one dimensionally. It was like, oh, well, if my mom has this game, then maybe we can play against each other. Or if my friends have this game, we can play against each other, right? And we're only thinking about it that way. But at the same time, we have to think about it exponentially, because now we have millions of people downloading this free app that's giving out millions of contacts and billions of contacts from all of these people, right? So there's so much to think about when we're downloading these apps that we don't really take into consideration as being part of our cybersecurity and our security for our web content.
That's a data harvesting. So we got Dr. Tammy here. Dr. Tammy, how are you? He said, "Hello, Doc, Vince, and Fred." So,
Hey,
so,
Dr.
so-
Tammy.
and they take advantage of kids. It's like kids download these games, and parents will say, "Okay, go ahead. You can download that on your iPad, phone, whatever."
Right,
And then there are games that would invite people to play. You can play with real time,
right.
and in so doing, it's a free app. They download that app, the people who were invited, and there's a cycle again. In doing so, there's this data gathering, and you're unconscious with that. And like you said, there's these terms and conditions who are what, a few inches microscopic, that you need a magnifying glass to read.
Right,
In a
exactly.
PDF file that has what, 9, 10
I
pages,
just want to
you
play
don't.
this game. I don't care. Give it to
I
me.
don't care. I just want to play
That's
it,
it.
and there it goes. Now,
Right.
the question would be, okay, there's this data harvesting, data gathering. What's the problem with that?
Well, um, so I have a T-shirt that I put out a very long time ago, and it says "Dream" on it, right? But data rules everything around me, right? So if people just needs to understand everything that you do is data, right? Data is data mining everywhere. Data is one of the biggest jobs that's never going anywhere, because everything is about data. Where you're filling out forms, you're filling out, any type of, surveys, and all of that is data, and everybody's using it constant. Every time you touch the face of your phone, it's data, because now your phone knows exactly, and once you start, if you're like a web programmer, you understand that JavaScript allows you to do things on click, right? So every time you touch something, it could give out, geolocation. It could give out so much data of where you are, right? So every time you turn on your phone, or every time you touch a particular app, it could say, oh, this person's in this part of California, or this part of, New Mexico, right? And you're not thinking about that. You're only thinking, hey, I just want to play this game, but you're giving out more data than you really understand. So when we start thinking about web security, we have to understand what we're giving out. We see a lot of these trends on TikTok and Instagram and Facebook and all these different places that's asking for a lot of your information, right? And we just kind of think if it's a trend. Hey, what's your name? Where do you live? What's
Mhm.
your sign? I'm like, you just gave out half of your information. This social engineering, and this is one area of cybersecurity that a lot of people don't realize that's happening until this is already happened, right? And they may just say, I'm playing this game, or this is your Star Wars name, right? And it's like, so, and what is your Star Wars name? Well, it's your first name, your date of birth, and something else, right? And just like, you've given out so much information about yourself when you're signing up for these apps, when you're playing these trends and doing all these different things, that we really don't understand how much information that we're giving away.
This is data mining done legally, but how about the dark web? How can they use your data uh, in the dark web?
Man, you come in with the hard questions today. I mean, those you come in like how can a dark web use information? Well, it's it understands who you are, right? Because of what you're signing up for, because of what information that you're giving away. This can be a way for them to gain more information about you, right? Whether you see everything from spoofed accounts to anything where other people are trying to use an account that looks like you. They may steal your picture. They may steal some of the elements from your profile to create another profile that they use to attract your followers or attract your family members or something like that to try to get them for money or what have you. So there are so many different ways that it can be used, but that's not even dark web, right? That's kind of just like you've given out all your information in certain ways, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a dark web type of situation.
Now, going back to the traders, when what would be your tip for like me, a trader, and I go in trade every day doing crypto. I go to whichever Coinbase or Gemini. What are the tips that you could advise us on this? What should we do to protect ourselves and ensure cybersecurity?
All right, so there's a lot. There's a lot there, and I really want to. I swear you guys can be all the questions like, hey,
Sorry, bro. I'm so
no, hey,
sorry.
I'm just messing with you. So I mean, there are so many steps, right? I mean, we have to understand that there are so many elements to trading online, right? Whether you are, do you have proper wallet security? Are you going into these chat rooms or these discords and whatever, and you're just clicking on things, that you have no idea what you're clicking on, right? Are you doing like certain mouse overs to make sure the link is going to where it's supposed to be going, right? What type of due diligence are you doing to to secure yourself prior to trying to get something free, right? I think that's the one element that hurts a lot of people, because everyone's in it for something free, right? I'm going to give you this free airdrop. I'm going to give you this free NFT. I'm going to give you something free. And it kind of goes back to my point before. Nothing's free but misery. So watch out for some of the things that you're going in and you're clicking on. So you really have to make sure that you kind of protect yourself, whether you are you have alternate accounts that you use, right? You might not necessarily, if you're going to get some free, NFTs from some site you never heard of or some link that you've never heard of, you might not want to necessarily use your primary MetaMask account, right? That might not be something that you want to, because we understand there's a lot of things that's happening where all it takes for someone to click on something and something's getting siphoned, right? And we have to make sure that we are protecting ourselves in so many different ways that we're not giving up the ghost just to get a free picture of, the Mona Lisa in NFT, right? I mean, so we have to kind of think about this in so many different ways instead of just what can we get free? Because that's really how a lot of people get suckered in, whether it's these phishing attempts or some type of errant URL that's sending you to somewhere else, that may be sending you to a spoof site or somewhere else. So there's a lot of different security features that you really have to make sure you're protecting yourself. If you're having, we understand that we're definitely talking to traders. So you're going to have different accounts that you're using, right? You might not necessarily be always using your primary account. How much are you really trading? It's like whether, and it doesn't really matter if you're in Forex, crypto, or what have you. You don't necessarily want all your eggs in one basket, right? You don't necessarily, I got $1 million or whatever, and I'm going to keep using this account. Why are you using that account? Let's try to think about, the risk and reward feature and just saying, okay, well, look, if it only behooves me that I only need $10,000 in this account to do whatever I need to do. My daily trades, my in and outs, make sure I protect myself on margin calls, all these type of things. That's all I need, right? It covers me for everything that I'm doing on this account. Maybe I'm not trading every day. Maybe I'm only trading between these certain hours. So you manage those accounts, properly. But to have everything in there, it would be like, going to a casino and you say, well, I got $1 million. I'll put it all on the table. No, so certain things you have to just kind of make sure that you are protecting yourself and you're thinking about this very logically to say, all right, well, this is all I'm doing. I'm only working with this account. I'm only trading these cryptos and that's it. Okay, well, I have me a particular wallet that does that, right? Mm-hmm. Or, I'm doing this. I'm making sure that, I have, loans or something on there. And, if it does get a margin call that I'm protected, as long as the bottom doesn't fall out on Bitcoin or whatever, right? So there needs to be certain things that you have to kind of think out and weigh and say, okay, what really makes sense? Why, what do I need here? What shouldn't I have there? Can some of this stuff be in my cold wallet or wallets? To make sure that, you kind of, you measure your risk rather than just trying to think about the reward.
Yeah, that is very important. You should have several accounts and just don't put it in one basket. But we got Dr. Tammy here. When using apps and programs, always ask, what is it costing you? Definitely. Exactly. What does it cost me to download that bird program or app? Because there's so many things behind that. Quick question. 2FA or Google Authenticator?
So that's a trick question. So they're both 2FA, right? It gives you, so 2FA is going to give you is a two-factor authentication. So Google Authenticator and Microsoft and Authy and all these types of things are different types of apps that allow you to have that second layer of factor authentication, right? So you definitely want to be able to have that, and that's going to be on every app. It's not, you're not only just thinking about your crypto trading and things of that sort, but you also want to make sure that have it on your Twitter, have it on your Instagram, have it on all these type of things. If the app allows for 2FA, and most of them do, use it. I mean, it's there for a reason. A lot of people get lazy and just like, I'm just going to do this, and that's too much extra work. Well, that makes it a lot easier for someone else to either get into your account and then, then they can set up 2FA and then you can get locked out of your own account. So, there's so many different reasons why you want to make sure you do that. And you don't necessarily want to have it, SMS, because there's so many different, which is text messaging.
Yes.
You don't necessarily want to have it come in there because, there's a way to hack your text messages, right? So they can, people can, do any certain things to your phone. They can be able to snatch it's called smishing, right? So you can sit there and do a lot of other things where they can kind of phish you through text message, or they can just sit there and hack your phone, whether it's some type of like SIM swap type of situation where they have all of your information that's coming into that phone. So, you definitely want to have some type of app that's going to, give you that code for every 30 seconds or 60 seconds or whatever, which makes it a lot harder for people to be able to get into that account.
Yeah, it's good that you mentioned that with Google Authenticator, it keeps on changing the codes every 30 or 60 seconds. And that makes it more difficult for the hacker. Now, another thing, this auto password by Google or Chrome, they would generate password for you. Would that help, or how does that work?
Is it free?
It is.
Cool.
Because they would generate for free for you the
Oh,
Google automatic password thing.
yeah. All right. I mean, no, I'm just going back to my previous statement. Is it free? Oh, okay. Be careful with that. I mean, because you have to think about, all right, so where are these passwords being stored?
Right.
Is it being stored in Chrome? Is this being stored in Google? Is it being stored, especially in if it's being stored in your Chrome browser? Can your browser get hacked?
Definitely 100%.
Yeah. So yeah, be
But
careful with that.
regarding your Wi-Fi, that also deals with cybersecurity. Am I correct?
Yeah, yeah, and you really have to be careful with Wi-Fi as well. We have to think about now. If you're on your home network, that's cool, but everybody's not always at home, right?
Hmm.
They're going to Starbucks, they're going to these coffee shops, they're going to the airport, they're going to all these different places. Let me just jump on the free Wi-Fi.
Free Wi-Fi in Starbucks or free Wi-Fi in the airport.
It's free, right? we're back to that free stuff again, right? Because if we have to kind of think about a network, right? So if you are at home on your network, you have multiple devices on your network. Well, can't they talk to each other? Can't they? Okay, so now we are going to open places with using free Wi-Fi where a lot of people are going to be on this network. So we have to start thinking, like I said, we have to really
Hmm.
understand what we're doing every time we go somewhere or going to the airport and using a USB device, right?
That's the
What does
thing.
it?
The USB charger.
Yeah.
Is that what they're saying? The USB charger device? You don't
Yeah,
have the receptacle, but you just use the USB and go
right.
ahead, plug it in.
Right. So, what happens when you plug your USB device into your computer?
There's a transfer of data, and you can charge your computer or
Yeah,
your phone.
but there's also a chance for transfer of data too, right? So,
That's correct.
so yeah, it makes more sense when you start thinking about it because some people are saying, okay, I'm not going to use the plug, you know, always use the plug, always use the plug, and actually
Mhm.
plug it into the wall because when you're using a USB device, you're setting yourself up and opening yourself up for transfer of data, right? So there are like certain things that a lot of people don't think of. It's like, oh, well, I'll just want to be able to watch this movie on the airplane.
Mhm.
Plug it in. They're plugging in the
Right.
USB, and then it's just like, oh, you know how much data you can get, and it's not necessarily from a hacker's point of view, but who's getting that information? Whether it's American Airlines, Delta, whomever, those places that you're plugging straight in,
Mhm.
that that gives them an opportunity to data mine as well, right? So we have to start thinking in so many different ways of what we're doing, what we're giving away. Some of the things that we see as ease of use,
Mhm.
because we're going to these coffee shops or we're going to, fast food places. Hey, can I get on your Wi-Fi? Yeah, that's cool. But also remember, there might be somebody that's also in that coffee shop or also in that restaurant, just waiting for people to jump on that network, right? So there are so many different ways. And then guess what? There could be something even worse where we have people that they don't even have free Wi-Fi at that place, right? Just think about it. You
Mm.
go somewhere and they say, you just go and you look and like, oh, this place has free Wi-Fi. So you jump on it. And guess what? I could just be sitting there just snatching everything. And it was like, oh no, we don't have free Wi-Fi here. And you just got on it just because it said this name, right? And be like,
Oh.
oh, now now everybody's got it, right? So there's a lot of things that you really need to start thinking about, making sure you have the proper security, antivirus and all of that good stuff on your computers. But remember, your phone is also a computer now, so we also have to think the exact same way that we're doing things on our computer that we're doing on our phone as well.
I got several questions. I got thousands of questions for you, but I know time is limited. And I mean, Oh, I really hope that we could spend more time talking about cybersecurity because way back then, during the 90s, when you talk about this, it seems like science fiction. This eagle's eye, people could know who you are, where you are at, even knowing the exact location. But basically, it's our own fault ourselves because we give our information freely. Looking at the Google thing, like, oh, would you like, or even that Facebook, would you like us to tag where your location is? So, like, okay, there you go. And I guess most of the time, you have the government institutions, legal agencies, they don't really have to do their homework doing their investigation. All they have to do is go to your social media space and get the pattern there. But the other thing is not just the big brother government, but also the dark side of the
Yeah,
the dark side of the moon. They can do it. They could
yeah,
really look at you, monitor you, even at real time. And that's
yeah,
where the fear is.
yeah.
And now, going back to what you're doing, your advocacy, bro, I really like that one of your curriculums on Flame Foundation is not just blockchain, but it also has the course for cybersecurity. Am I correct?
Yes, yes. So we have recently put out some courses available out there on the Flames Foundation. So fbflamesfoundation.org, where you can go and check out our Learn tab. That will send you to our platform, which allows you to learn more about network defense, digital forensics, as well as ethical hacking. So one of the things that we have to understand is, understanding security in a lot of different capacities. Whether it is going to be the physical security, whether it's going to be, understanding how to get into or protect yourself, um, protecting your own network, right? So one of the things about when you start getting into understanding, just say network defense, you also understand that how to protect your own, right? Making sure that you're getting rid of these default name and username and passwords on your router and on your and your routers and things of that sort, or your switches, whatever you have. Make sure you're getting rid of all of those things and making it a lot more difficult uh, to hack, or you make it a little bit more secure. So there are so many different ways that you have this opportunity to not only understand how to protect yourself, but also make a career of this, because this is going to be a job that I never see going away. As long as we have the internet, we're definitely going to have a need for cybersecurity.
Talking about digital forensic essentials, DFE, ethical hacking, and network defense essentials. And this course is offered for what age group? Or professionals, high schoolers, or what?
So I would say high school and above, because
Mhm.
there's a lot of it, and but at the same time, we have to think about, we have young people who get into computers as well, right? So some of the terms and some of the things they may be able to grasp, but at the same time, there's a lot of video, and if there's going to be anyone who has more of a that kind of like uh, time to invest in it, it
Mhm.
might be someone who's older or is really trying to get a job into cybersecurity. So I would say it's open, for younger people as well. But at the same time, you still have to have, there's maturity levels you have to think about, because you have to understand of, how to use Wi-Fi, how to do certain things. And, maybe a 10-year-old may not necessarily be sitting there trying to build Wi-Fi because they can't even afford to buy Wi-Fi or to buy a router, right? So it's those type of things. But I would say more of a high schooler and up.
Yeah, I think the network defense is essential for me, for my age group, for our age group who doesn't know really anything about cybersecurity. Most of the things that they know is just go in the internet, look at YouTube, CNN, or whatever. But it may be like I don't know what's the term for this mundane thing, going to the internet, watching YouTube, but in so doing, you are basically getting yourself exposed to the cyber
Right.
community, cyberspace, wherein a lot of the bad elements can take advantage of what you're doing. So that cybersecurity defense thing is very, very timely for that demographics. Now, what have you been doing lately? I see that you had several events that you had. Maybe you could talk more about that with regards to flames.
Yes. So actually, we are on tour. We'll be on tour for the next couple of weeks, going to different events. So we partnered with the Southern Black Girls and Women's Consortium, where they are reaching out to Black girls and women, obviously in the South, in all these different cities. So we're in 7 different cities where we will be helping girls kind of like come together. They have a lot of different events, but what the Flames Foundation is doing particularly is giving out scholarships to make sure that they get their journey started in cybersecurity. So we really want to get people involved, understanding that this is a possibility for their career.
Mhm.
Really pushing careers in STEM, and cybersecurity, like I said, is an area that is not going anywhere anytime soon.
Yeah, I think you are really on the right track on this because in every, I guess, in all schools right now, they should include cybersecurity on their curriculum. Uh, Having the basic foundation and you doing it, I mean, for me, it's trailblazing because everyone needs cybersecurity. That's it. I got
Right.
everyone needs about that. Sometimes we might think it's a borderline paranoia, but it's really not.
Right. Yeah. It's web security in itself is should be a staple for everyone. I like to say the safest computer or the safest phone is the one you never take out the box. Right. And that's it.
Hmm.
Everything else is at risk. As soon as you get on the internet, it's over. Right. So you have to, and even with that, even if you don't get on the internet, right, there's certain things that you can, USB or a DVD drive when they used to have those, and something you could
DVD
easily
drive. Oh my
insert
goodness.
something into your computer and still come up with a virus, right? Or some type of so those are the type of things that we have to start thinking about, and it's just basic web security. Like I mentioned, phishing has been around for years, right? And it's just like people sending spoofed accounts or spoofed emails that you're thinking you're going to, hey, this is your bank account. You're having problems with your bank account. Sign in, and we've seen those emails for over 20 years, right? And it's still happening because it still works. And whether it is, you know, you know, crypto trading or anything else, those phishing attempts is really what's still getting people. So we really have to kind of understand what we're doing, understand, checking the URLs of places
Hmm.
that we're either going to, clicking on, if something's wrong, is, understanding what domains are,
Right.
because then you can see, all right, is this the full domain? Is this a subdomain? And once you start being able to segment it out and say, okay, well, it kind of looks like it's going there. It's okay, it's okay to use or something like that, or is it a redirect? Is it something
It's a
that
redirect. Right. Right. Right.
exactly is it coming from a certain place, redirecting somewhere else? It's so many different areas that you have to just kind of educate yourself on. So basic web security is something that should be for everyone and not just
Mhm.
for kids. But we have a lot of people in our age group and stuff like that and above that they don't know any better. They're just clicking on whatever and oh well, this looks like YouTube and it's like YouTube.co and like, oh, that's not the real site, and it then sent you somewhere else, right? Or whatever, right? It's like, yeah, that M makes a difference. Those type of things we have to think about.
There's this app that changes your face and would determine your face when you are 10 years older, 20 years older. That's the other thing. They thought that's a game, but it's a facial recognition
Right.
AI, so that when you get lost
Yeah.
after 5 years, they will know who you are. They could profile you.
Hey, I, hey, I tell people all the time, you have to realize, you got to realize all of those trends and all of those things are not games. So if you think about, I want to say 5 years ago now, right? About 5 years ago, they came out with this, I want to say Snapchat filter or Instagram filter that gave you a mask over your face.
Uh-huh.
Ah, kind of.
Yeah.
How did that work? And then all of a sudden, everyone's wearing masks 3 years later, right? So we have to understand.
Go ahead,
Hey,
bro.
look, I need people to think before they just jump on it. Why would you need a mask on a Snapchat filter, right? And everybody
Right.
was using them. I'm like, they setting you up, and then all of a sudden, this thing comes out of nowhere where everyone has to wear a mask, but you still can be identified just by your eyes and facial
Just by
expressions and
yeah,
everything else,
yeah.
right? So, yeah, yeah, just
So
understand
I
there's a
know
lot more things out there
there's a
going
lot more
than
things, and we're gonna wrap up in 5 minutes. The thing is, we were talking about some of those things we're talking about with regards to phishing. I got that. It's the computer thing, but the other thing is when they make phone calls, those scammers from most of the time
right.
India. that oh, we're here. We know you're so you have problems with your Medicare or what, and we're gonna fix it. And we're from this. I mean, they first do those text messages with those links and call this number, and from there on, they got your phone number, and you will be on their list
Yeah,
and on different different accounts, different time frames, time zones. They will call you wherever, whenever, and that's the other thing. They could easily get your phone number, and I mean, cybersecurity should be part of the system. Like you said, it will be a staple food. It'll be the rice for Asians.
hey, you know what? Like I said, I think it's more of just understanding how many different ways you can be social engineered, right? Whether they're calling you, whether they're texting you, whether they're emailing you, whether they're using social media, whether they're, you're filling out surveys, you're doing
Mm.
all types of different things. And it's like, well, look, you've given up. How much information have you given up? And we don't really think about it. All of these survey companies and stuff like that. I'm like, hey, you filled out a survey. Just, hey, how was your pancakes? You got your email, all this type of stuff. And what are they promise you? You might get a $5 off coupon to come back the next time, but $5 for your information that they've sold for thousands, right? So
Mhm.
those are so many different things that we've kind of given up, or even like these like CVS cards or the cards that you get for discounts, right? That's data. No one's really thinking about that. You're only thinking about the coupons that you might get at the end of the month or whatever it is, right? To say, but they're tracking what you're buying, when you're buying it, your
Mhm.
demographic, how all in the geolocation of where you're making these purchases. There's so many different data points,
Right.
and the only thing you're thinking about, oh, I get some extra bucks at the end of the day. And it was like, well, that $3 that they gave you to buy more buy more items from their store is it's a wash. I made tens of thousands of dollars off of you to be able to sell your data, and I gave you a $3 coupon. So we have to start thinking in a lot of different ways about how we're being engineered and how
Mm.
we're giving up our data, or are we using our actual account? Are we using proton mail? Are we using all types of different things on some of the things that we're doing? Are we using the same passwords in multiple places? Don't do it. All those type of things. We have to make sure that we're protecting ourselves in different ways. So yeah, I mean, like I said, this is a conversation that could go on for hours.
This could go for
'Cause-
hours, definitely. I mean, I see you're passionate about cybersecurity. So am I. Now, the next episode, I'm gonna invite you on our future programs because man, this is so interesting. The question would be Will Web3 help in cybersecurity? Oh, don't answer that. Please do not. Because for our people who's going to watch our show on our episode, because this is very interesting, I'm going to give the whole floor to you. Final thoughts, things how they could reach you, how they could help you on your advocacy, Flames Foundation. And here's the frame. Go ahead, please, Fred.
All right. So yeah, so we are doing a lot to make sure that our communities are prepared for the future. So if you could reach out to us, you can donate at fbflamesfoundation.org/donate. We have a lot of different programs that we're putting out. As we mentioned, we have our areas that we really focus on is blockchain, Web3, cybersecurity, data, as well as financial literacy. So please help, please support, donate what you can. You can find me on Instagram, on Twitter, as well as Telegram at FBFlamesFound. Thanks.
And there you go. Oh, I lost my face. Sorry about that. So, would you think that's a good, interesting topic? Will Web3 be a good place, a good step up for cybersecurity?
It'll definitely be a good conversation.
Okay. Well, Matt, Fred, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. It's a great time talking about cybersecurity. And to those who are watching, if you could help out Flames Foundation, I already had it there on our description link. And go ahead, check it out, and help out so that our young teens would be ready in the future, especially with cybersecurity. Peace out. By the way, don't go yet, Fred, because I'm going to talk to you. To
All
our
right.
audience, bye bye, stay safe, be safe. God bless you all. Bye.
See ya.